let's talk about forward folds. Forward folds are something else that in a way don't get enough respect. Like child's pose, we all think we know how to do forward folds like we know how to do child's pose. But there's a reason we spend so much time on forward folds. You can always get better, you can get deeper, and it's also something that people also aspire to. So many people say, I can't do yoga because I can't touch my toes, or they think they're really good at yoga, or they have the potential to be really good at yoga because they have flexible hamstrings. So we kind of obsess on this hamstring thing. But from my view, forward folds are really more about the back. And one of the reasons we want to get better at them is to loosen up the back. You want to have decent space between the vertebrae so that you can go on to do other, it's also, the word forward fold, the term forward fold, is interchangeable with forward bend. And so that we can move on to back bends, side bends, other kinds of bends. And the hamstrings may or may not be involved as much as with the regular old forward fold. So it is about the hamstrings, but it's also about the back body in general. And there are always ways to improve and get better. We're only going to look at two of them today, a seated forward fold and a standing forward fold, which are two of the most basic ones. But an extreme high boat pose is a forward fold. Your chest is by the knees and you're balancing on the sits bones. I was leaning back a little bit there because I'm on uneven ground. And then plow pose, bringing the feet overhead, which we often do after shoulder stand. That's a forward fold also. So, and then forward folds are part of sun salutations. You do them twice in each set of sun salutations. So, and then also if you do moon salutations, they're part of that. Usually the wide-legged forward bend, standing forward bend is part of that. So we do them all the time. They're a basic thing and we can always get better. So let's break it down a little bit and look at it. So I'm coming to sit up tall on my sits bones. I'm bringing the feet out, and ideally you're in an L shape, making an L shape, 90 degrees. And this is your basic Dandasana. Bringing the hands down, pulling the shoulders back, tucking the belly in. And people have different proportions. Bringing your hands flat down by the hips may cause your elbows to bend and make you feel like you're kind of slumping because your torso is shorter than your arms. And then some people have very short arms and they're pressing down. If that happens, you can use blocks because you're very long-waisted. And see, it's not going to work for me. And I shouldn't have the bend in the elbows. So that you can bring, anyhow, you can bring bring the floor up to the hands in by using blocks. So you might have to adjust by using something underneath your hands, or maybe moving the hands further back or forward a little bit so you can get that length, but ideally they're right by the hips. And the feet are flexed. You want to feel the hamstrings engaged from the tush down through the Achilles heel and through the bottom of the foot. Sitting up tall, pulling those shoulder blades back, tucking in the belly, and you'll feel the shoulder blades move down and toward each other, like you're opening the heart center in the front as you're bringing, there's different ways to describe it, like you're trying to bring those shoulder blades to kiss, or like you're squeezing a pencil between them. So whatever mental image works for you, sitting up tall. And I showed this in the core video, and I am hinging at the hips. I'm first lifting up with the heel of the hand, and then the center of the palm, then the finger mounds, and then finally I'm on the tips of the fingers to come forward. And so this crease is pretty tight between the belly and the thigh as I come forward. And that keeps a nice flat back. Notice it's the opposite of just doing this, which is what we often do in forward folds. And it's not just sloppy, you're not going to get the benefits out of it. So I'm going to do it less OCD. You can do that again, but I'm going to bring the hands to the knees, the same idea, hinging at the hips, exhale, coming forward. My belly is on the thighs, getting that stretch through the back body. And I have to tell you, I feel it probably equally or even more in the spine than I do in the hamstrings. Now, people are going to be different. I do have flexible hamstrings, but I think it's just doing the forward fold correctly. You're supposed to feel that. And you do feel it in the lower back in particular. Okay, so that was some of the most basic stuff. I forgot to bring a strap out with me. My bad. But, so you're sitting up tall, bringing belly onto thigh, holding the sides of your feet, and like walking the dog, sort of stretching out pressing down through one heel after the other. See, I'm keeping the engagement of belly on thigh. So the knees are bent. It's not about the hamstrings so much. I mean, it is, I'm stretching them out, but it's really about the back body. And I did show it with the strap in the core video, that I'm trying to keep that engagement of belly onto thigh, so that's the lower back, and then more the chest just above the knees, and that's the middle back. And then by holding on to the feet somewhere, you're going to inevitably, the upper back is going to be engaged, and you want that whole engagement, and you want to get used to it because you're going to be using it for side bends and for back bends. You want to have length and reach in the spine. So actually, let's lift the arms up, stretching up tall, lifting out of the hips, and exhale, coming forward. So if your hands don't come over the feet, they very well might. You can bend the knees. Again, bringing belly onto thigh, getting that length. Now I'm holding the outsides of the feet. You can wrap your forefingers around your big toe knuckles, whatever. So you come into your forward fold, breathing into it. And I'm going to just go ahead and come out of it. We could have stayed down there longer. You can see it's a basic thing that you're doing standing in sun salutations. A lot of people want to get better at wide-legged forward fold, of coming down and being able to bring your chest down. It takes a long time to get that flex, but it's the same principle. I'm coming down and pressing through my chest. I'm not rounding the back and kind of flopping over. I don't think you'll cause an injury by doing it kind of sloppy, but you're not going to get the benefits of this hinging action and the length. And then a lot of people have tight inner thigh muscles, and getting them to stretch, you really got to, they're very much connected to the diaphragm and to the middle to lower part of the back. You really have to use the back body to get that stretch. And again, you might want to hold on to the feet. And we're going to look at that standing up too. So these are your basic seated forward folds. And it's really, in my opinion, it's all about the hinging action and tucking navel to spine and coming forward. And also doing it lifting up, coming tall, really feeling the whole back body engagement. Because you could do this and come back into a back bend. You have to still have that length. You could come into a side bend. You still have to have that length. So having a good forward fold helps teach you about the other kinds of things. So let's do some standing forward folds. This is what you're going to encounter in most classes, really, particularly flow classes with sun salutation. So we're going to do it from coming into a squat first, balancing on it's harder on uneven ground, onto the balls of the feet, pressing down through the soles of the feet, lifting up in a moving chair, stretching, lengthening through that spine, lifting out of the hips, hollow, really lifting out of the ribs, hollowing out the armpits, coming up tall. Okay, so coming to stand at the top of the mat into your mountain pose. You might have the hands on either side. You might have the hands at heart center, and then the upward salute is raising the arms. There's a couple ways to come into your forward fold here. I often teach it with a opening the heart and leading with the chest in a swan dive down. Do a reverse swan dive coming back up. You might do it with the hands at heart center, hinging at the hips, coming forward. I don't know if you can tell, I really have my weight more at the toes than the heels. It gets more engagement of the spine and the back body. You can see I'm leaning back when I press onto the heels. It kind of feels a little bit more tippy coming onto the toes, but it's a better forward fold. It's the same principle as what we were doing seated. You can bend the knees, bringing belly onto spine, and then wherever you're going to hold on. It might be the calves around the heels. Exhale, trying to keep that engagement, looking forward. And again, it's almost like walking the dog. You can come deeper into it. And you might do a half flat back. You can, again, hold on to the toes. It's like it's called a toe lock. Bringing the elbows kind of toward each other or toward the knees, and exhale, come forward. Gorilla pose, of course, is a forward fold where you're bringing the palms of the hands under the soles of the feet. Your toes kind of give your wrists a massage. You're coming forward. Notice I brought my ears between the elbow creases. So these are all forward folds. I'm just going to hinge back up again, lifting up tall. Another way to do a forward fold is a roll down, and it's nice to do against the wall. And this comes more from Pilates, slowly rolling down vertebrae by vertebrae. You can bring the hands into ragdoll and kind of bend and sway, letting the back body relax in your forward fold. You can touch your toes or whatever you want to do here. And then rolling back up, stacking vertebrae, one on top of the other, lifting up tall, stretching up. And that would be another way to like open up the spine so you can come back into a back bend from there. Or a side bend or whatever you might do from there. And then if you come into a wide-legged forward fold, it's the same principle. You're hinging at the hips, coming forward, and you can bend from side to side, coming into like a side lunge or a Skandasana from there if you wish. But it's still basically your forward fold. You can do a twist. You can hold behind the ankles and come down deeper. You can bring your hands all the way through. You can come forward into a wide-legged downward dog and stretch into your forward fold. But they're all forward folds in one way or the other. And so, I hope that was helpful. Namaste.